Yo, welcome to the bill. We about to get it in. Y'all give me 1 second. As y'all can see with the title of the bill today, what is meditation and how to meditate? Okay. We are in the bill. This is build part 11. Okay. Bet. All right, so y'all stay tuned. We about to get it in. I can't play any music anymore because they keep flagging me for the music, the copyright. So I can't play the music. It's about to get hot because we about to get it in. We about to get it in. We about to get it in today. Yeah, what is this? This is the build. This is the build part 11. This is the build part 11. Welcome. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I hope y'all had a good week. And I hope y'all are ending it on a good note in regards to the weekend. But I wanted to touch on something that I hope majority of us, we can all learn from, and we can exercise and implement into our everyday life. And this subject is a subject of not only high importance, but it's something that has been, I feel like in different aspects and in different forms, this has been part of our culture. But I feel that it is imperative for us as, the new age, the new generation. What's up, Ray Moore? Welcome, brother. We're about to chop it up. This is part 11 of the build. Welcome. And today's topic, let me go ahead and type the topic in so when people come in, they know what we're talking about. So today's topic is what is meditation? What is meditation and how to meditate? That is the topic and discussion. That's what we built. That's what we are building on today. That's what we're building on today. So yeah, man. So like I said, meditation is an understanding and a belief system that's been around for a long time, because we understand that everything begins from within, right? Everything starts from within. Everything in nature that is natural comes and starts from within, from the seed of a plant all the way to the seed of a human being, growing into an embryo. It's the same process. And so that's why there's not too much of a difference, but only major similarities and small differences, right? A human being and a plant is only different on physicality, but concept of originality, concept of birth is still the same concept. We start as seeds, and so even that type of carnation, of incarnation, of life is the same way you have to cleanse yourself. It's the same way you have to understand, is the same way you do anything. So if you're sick, the first thing you do is take care of the organs that are inside of you, and then that will ripple out to your skin, to your hair, to your face, and to anything else, right? If you were thirsty, you feed, you hydrate your insides, right? And then that ripples out into the outside, into your shell, into the skin. When somebody's ashy, when somebody's dry, is because that is showing a lack of hydration within, right? So if somebody has got a mean mug on his face, that is because of a certain level of negativity within, right? So that's telling you, if somebody's, you like, damn, why you look so mad? That's because they mad inside, they're mad, and it's only being being broadcasted from the outside. It's only your facial expressions, all of that. All that is just filters and just things that are telling us what's going on inside of you, right? That's what we need to understand the most of is our feelings and all of that is they're extensions. There are extensions of who we are and what state of mind we're in. So what is meditation? Now, meditation, that is a very loaded question when I say that. So that's why we have to break it down, because when we think about it, meditation is what? It's like when we think about the stereotypical person that's meditating, we think of the monk or the person, sitting like this, and they're sitting in Indian, Indian stance, and they got the legs crossed, and they got their eyes closed, and they're humming or something, right? So we understand that it's definitely a level of being in the now. It's a level of being in your reality, right? See, because we have to understand that when I say reality, we all live different realities. We all live different truths. What I wake up to every day is not the same thing that Ray Moore wakes up to. It's not the same ideas that Ray Moore wakes up to or thinks, right? If somebody is living in a very hectic situation, right? Especially, let's say you live in a very troubled neighborhood and it's violent, so your reality and your perception waking up in a neighborhood like that is different from somebody who lives in a neighborhood with no violence, right? Because your guard's not up if you live in a place with no violence. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a certain level of ease and of peace, right? Because you understand that you are not worried, as opposed to somebody who's constantly worried. There is a certain level of a difference there and a differentiation of reality. And so one thing is for sure too, is that when we understand that everything in the world it's just their things and their ideas, and we just subscribe to these ideas, which make them reality. Like, for example, right now is the NBA playoffs, right? A lot of people are into that shit. We just finished off March Madness. Like during those times, if people don't watch basketball, the people who don't give a shit about March Madness or don't give a shit about the playoffs, they're just going to work, or they're sitting at home, or they're working in the farm, or doing whatever they've been doing. Nothing changes for them. It's the same reality. But if you are a college fan, a college basketball fan, you are living and breathing college basketball games for a month and a half, right? 2 months watching these games. You are in a certain level of hype and euphoria because the March Madness championship game is about to come up, or your favorite team just made it to the playoffs. So that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody doesn't watch basketball, that don't mean anything to them. So to them, it's just another day. So that excitement that you place on yourself, we have to understand that is self-implemented. That is not something that everybody feels. So when you get excited when you watch your favorite basketball team, that's just, you are just getting excited about that. Not everyone in the world. So that is your reality. Even time. Right now, I don't know where you are, Ray Moore, but we're in we're in the Midwest. So we're in Central Time. So right now it's 4:10 or a little past 4:10, right? It's 4:11 right now. So what is it? So like in the East Coast, it's like 6 o'clock. It's 6:12 over there, right? On the West Coast, it's what is it? It's about 2 o'clock on the West Coast. Right now, if we go to South Africa, it is 11:10 p.m. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's in the evening over there. So even that right there, I'm telling you, I'm showing you how their reality right now in South Africa, it's 11 o'clock at night. Their reality in New York, it's 6 p.m. over there. They're about to eat dinner. So It's probably daytime over there too, but it's probably daytime over there, but it's 6 over there. You see what I'm saying? In California, they just finished late lunch. You see what I'm saying? So my point is, these are all different realities. That California, they're subscribed to a different time, a different concept of time. Central time, we are subscribed to a different concept of time. East Coast, they're subscribed to a different concept and perspective and reality of time. In South Africa, they have subscribed to a different reality and perception of time. So we have to understand that these are concepts. Time it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of clinging on to an idea and concept. So the same way when you look at something like the constellations in the sky, right? To somebody who doesn't understand constellations, these are just stars that are up in the sky, right? There is no significance to them. But to somebody who looks at Heart First, Talent Foundation, welcome. So, and then to people who come in and who know constellations, to them they see the patterns, right? They see the constellation, which is like the gathering of certain type of stars, right? To conceptualize a certain idea. So my point is all these examples I'm making from time, from the idea of looking at stars and seeing the Big Dipper and things like that. These are all concepts. These are all, oh, what's up with a Q? Yeah. What's up with it, bro? These are all concepts. These are all ideas. So we have to understand that in true reality, what we're doing is in true reality is that we're separating ourselves from these ideas and concepts. Okay. So meditation is the way we come to feel our basic inseparability from the universe itself. Okay. Meditation is a way of understanding the connection naturally that we have with the world, whether it's ethereal, whether it's spiritual. These are the ways to not only kind of reaffirm, but it's to strengthen this connection. When I say inseparable, that means there is no disconnecting, right? And so meditating is only strengthening that type of bond. And so a lot of people, they want to ask, what is the easy, there's so many ways of meditating. And then there's so many different people trying to tell you how to meditate, right? And how to do it. And for the most part, what I've learned, and anybody who asks me is what is meditation or how do you do it, is before you implement the practice, before you do it, you have to understand why you're doing it. And so that's why I was laying out in regards to just what the foundation of meditation is, which is, like I said, it's the foundation of reality and separating yourself from ideas and looking at reality for what it actually is. Like, for example, the idea that tomorrow exists, right? Like tomorrow is not even a real thing, right? The future is not necessarily even a real thing. Today is all that exists. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not come yet. It might not ever come. The only thing that you have is today, is the now. So that's what I'm talking about. That is the essence of meditation, is understanding that reality is breaking yourself from your own truths. It's breaking yourself from the subscriptions of reality and perception that you have subscribed to. And then in understanding that when I say that the future is never promised, right? Tomorrow may never come. Right now, I could drop dead. Right now, everyone who's watching right now, y'all could all drop dead, right? As you can plan everything you want for tomorrow, but it can never come, and you can't guarantee that. What you can guarantee is what you're doing right now. Is you sitting here listening and watching me. That's what you have control over. So that's the only thing meditation is strengthening that understanding. Because I feel if more of us understood that, not only would we not take a lot of things for granted. Give me a good book to read. Man, real shit. Real shit. You know, so that's if a lot of us understood that, that's why meditation is so important. And that's why just that understanding of living in the now is so important, is because a lot of us take advantage of that, right? Including me. We all think that tomorrow is always going to be there for us to clean up the mess that we made today. We all think that tomorrow is going to be there for us to clean up the mess we made in the past. And so the more we understand that that's not true, and that tomorrow not only is always taken from people who think that way, but can be taken from you. Like you're not special. You can be taken, you know, foolishly. You can just you can walk outside and get hit by a car, just over nothing. You know, you're not gonna. Some people, they don't die heroic deaths, right? They don't go out like a champ, or or go out like a G or whatever. Sometimes you go out a shitty way, and the only reason why, you know, there is a level of a dissatisfaction is because, like I said, is that we live our lives assuming that we can accomplish, or we can finish, or we can talk to that person, or we can finalize this tomorrow. And that is not only a level of procrastination within oneself, but then it's also it's not only telling yourself, but it's telling the rest of the world of how much we don't care. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand the severity of the decisions that we make, and how much they jeopardize our future, right? And we understand that now when we get older. We're like, damn, we should have done this. Damn, we should have done it like this. It's because we're not thinking about, well, right now, what's good for me, and right now, what do I need to be doing? We always look at it like, well, tomorrow I can fix it, or tomorrow I can do it like this. So meditating is reminding yourself that tomorrow is just an idea. Is that we have to understand that today is the most important thing. Is the most important thing is now. What you are doing now, what you're thinking now. Okay, so how do we meditate? How do we meditate? Okay, so the first thing I can say, and you see, I got my notes here. The first thing, the best thing that I can say is we have to shut up. You have to stop talking. You have to shut yourself up in regards to internally. You know, when people, when you sit and talking to somebody, whether it's a discussion, argument, whatever you want to call it, but when you were saying your piece, and then that person, welcome in, Tay Splitter. When you're saying your piece, and then that person is already answering you before you even finish what you're saying to them. That's because that person's already answering your question while you're talking to them, and they're already coming up with the answer and before they even say it. You see what I'm saying? So my point is that type of idea, that type of person, that type of perspective will also leak into your subconscious. So if you're always that type of person, you don't listen, you don't let people speak, where you're constantly thinking of what you're going to say to them next, right? And then when they say, what did I say? And you don't remember what they said to you, that leaks into your subconscious, to where you are constantly thinking, and you are constantly juggling thoughts that are not only not relevant to you, but they're not sufficient to your process thinking. It's like right now, if I'm driving down the street and I'm thinking about snowballs and unicorns, how, you know what I'm saying? It's like, where's the connection there, right? It's like there has to be a sequence of thought, not just random thoughts all over the place. But the more we create that random thoughts, the more it seeps into our everyday, to where people are, what we call it, daydreaming. A lot of time we call it daydreaming, where somebody's just out in the clouds, and you go, hey, bro, and then they come back. You see? So we have to shut up. Meditating is teaching us to shut up subconsciously. And then the more you do that consciously, the more it leaks into you subconsciously. VO, welcome in, cousin. Open third eye, welcome in, welcome in. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that I can say in regards to how do we meditate is that we have to shut up. Just shut your mouth. Shut up. Stop talking. Because it's harder to control your thought especially when you got your mouth running, right? Because what we have to understand is that our thought comes first, and then the mouth runs. But see, if your mouth is always running, then you have no time to inject or receive thought. So the first thing to do is just to shut up. We have to be quiet. Facts. Open third eye says facts, and also try to clear negative thoughts. That's exactly right. And the best way for us to do that is that's what I'm saying. So even right now, let's say somebody has negative thoughts, right? The best thing to do for me that I can say personally to recommend is silence. Silence your mouth. Start there, because it's harder for you to go to the mind. Let's just start by silencing your mouth. Create a time in the day, whenever, before you go to sleep, where you just don't talk. Where you don't talk. You don't talk. At first, it's going to be weird because while you're not talking, your brain's going to be running because you're used to that, right? You're used to not only talking, but you're thinking what you're talking and vice versa. So it's going to be strange at first, but you will get used to the fact that every time at this time before I go to bed, or when I wake up, or at 3 o'clock or 2, or when I take my lunch, I shut up. I shut up. Just don't talk. Your silence, the chatter that goes on in our heads is usually overwhelming for most of us. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. We do a lot more talking in our heads than verbally. So how we control that is, let's stop the verbal talking first. Let's just stop that. Let's create a time where we can exercise a time of just silence. Let's just accept that. And then what that will do is slow down and decrease the chatter here. That will slow down the negative thoughts here, right? And most importantly, too, you have to take yourself out of these elements that produce that type of energy, right? The type of movies, the type of people, the type of music. You can't be listening to shoot 'em up, bang bang music, and then you wonder why you got negative thoughts. You can't listen to YNW Melly, I got murder on my mind, and then you wonder why you got negative thoughts. You have to also cleanse the environment you in. You can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too when it comes to that. You cannot entertain and bring in negative energy, negative symbolisms, ideology, right? And then you try to not attach that to your subconscious mind. It's gonna go hand in hand. So that's number one, is cleanse your environment, cleanse your surroundings. That's number one. Or not even cleanse, regulate. Then at this time, this type of music is not welcome here, right? But then it's up to you to cleanse it to a point of content, right? To a point to where you understand that is this good for me? Is this not good for me? That's up to you. So that's number one. You cleanse yourself. And then number two is shut up. Don't talk. Don't talk. That will silence the chatter that is in your head. Okay. So the same thing of what I was saying, like I said, is that when we talk, we don't have time to listen. You see, that dude or that girl that's always yapping at the mouth, that's always quick to argue with you, that person they will never hear you because they're too busy talking. And when you're talking, you can't hear anything. It's that simple. When you're talking, you can't hear anything. That's the same way with people that that always want to argue. You know what I'm saying? It's like they always have something to say. If you stop talking and listen to what somebody's saying to you, you might not even need to counter what they said, because now you understand what they were talking about, or whatever the issue may be, right? So it's the same way with your thought. If you don't have time to silence your thought, you won't have time to receive thought. You won't have time to take in thought. All you'll be doing is juggling the thoughts that you are constantly initiating, right? So it's like if I'm driving down the street and I'm constantly thinking about what I have to do, what I haven't done, what I need to be doing, old girl who called me last night, old girl who didn't call me last night. If I'm too busy thinking about all these things, I won't bring in a thought of maybe someone I'm seeing on the street and she's smiling at me, or an opportunity. It's like you won't be able to receive things that are constantly coming at you that could benefit you. You won't be able to see these things or receive them if you're constantly pushing out thought, if you're constantly pushing out verbiage. If you ever heard that saying when someone says that, the person that talks a lot, let them talk so they can hang themselves. Let them talk so they can dig their own hole. You see what I'm saying? The less you say, the better. The less you say, the less people know what you're thinking. The more you talk, the more people understand what you're thinking, right? When you're in any type of negotiation situation in business or anything, the less you talk, the better. The dude that's in there running their mouth in a negotiation, tell me anything and everything you want to tell me. Even if it's bullshit, you just keep running your mouth. Sooner or later, you will trip off one of those words and fall into that hole you dug. While I'm sitting here and I ain't said nothing but 2 words to you. You don't know what I'm thinking, right? I know what you're thinking. Even if it's bullshit, I know you're thinking bullshit. Do you know what I'm thinking? No, because all I said was, how you doing? Let me hear what you got to say. That's all I've said. So we have to understand that conserving, restraint is always beneficial for you. Silence is always beneficial for you. To hold back is always beneficial for you, always. So, why we meditate, okay? Why we meditate? What is the use? What is the purpose of why we do what we do? Or what is the purpose of the meditation itself? Okay, so when I ask that question, I'm going to answer it with a question. It's the same reason you would ask yourself, why do we make music? Why do we make art? Why do we dance? Why do we have spiritualism? For example, with music, there's always that certain song, right? Not only is there always that certain song, but certain songs you listen to will take you back, way back into time. They'll take you back to when you were a little kid, right? When you were playing with your cousins and your family. Take you back to certain holidays when you were with your family. Lunch, potlucks, barbecues, cookouts, right? It'll take you back to certain dances, right? School dance or whatever, prom. You know what I'm saying? Music encapsulates, right? That's the same reason why we even make music and why we listen to it, is because it invokes certain emotions, but most importantly, it's because of the journey that the music takes us on is why we do it, right? Whether you're the musician or the person listening to the music, you enjoy the journey that song always takes you on. I love the song because this song always reminds me of my grandmother. I love the song because the song always reminds me of the homies when we were growing up, kicking up dust. I love the song because it always reminds me of just growing up with my family and holidays, right? It's the journey of the song. The same way while we dance, we have millions of dance moves and dance routines and we got the remember the Soul Train line and things like that. Like people weren't just going, man, I can't wait just to get on the Soul Train line. It wasn't where people now where they're talking about I can't wait to hit a certain type of dance move. It's the experience during the dancing that people enjoy. It's being with your folks. It's being with your homies. It's being with your family, right? It's not that certain, man, I love just hitting that one move the way no, it's not that. It's the experience of it. It's the feelings that that music invokes, right? So that's why you meditate. It's the journey. It's the journey that it provides is why meditation is such a significance. Is because the sequence of events from beginning to middle to end that you go through is always something that is beneficial to you and for you when it comes to meditation. So it's that journey from beginning to end. It's that experience is why meditation is such an importance, right? It's so again, and meditating is it is accepting the now. It's us accepting what it is and not what it was, what it will be. It's us accepting exactly what it is. So we have to understand that if you want to learn how to meditate because you want to be a better person, you want to learn how to meditate because you want to be able to have more of a clear mind, or you want to be, you know what I'm saying, you want to be with your chi, you want to you want to be smarter, right? You want to calm yourself down, you're too aggressive. Whatever ulterior motive that you have to understand that if you attach that to the reasons why you meditate, then you're not meditating at all. And you need to leave meditation alone. Open Third Eye asks, how do you know when your chakras are open? Well, you see, when you're talking about chakras, that is a certain level of understanding, just meditation. Okay. How you know when your chakras are open, that's a very loaded question. But the best way that I can sum it up is this, is that you have to get to a certain level of understanding of your meditation in regards to theory and why you are even meditating. Because even chakras being open and closed, people don't even understand why they need to even be open in the chakras. Are they closed? What is the understanding of maintaining and balancing your chakras? That's what I'm saying. This all goes back to we have to understand the theory of even what chakras are and what purpose they serve. Okay. And so before we even get there, we have to understand why we're even meditating. We have to understand in what essence and what circumstance we're meditating in. So that question is a loaded question for folks that are more in tune and have taken the meditation into more in-depth levels. I can in my DM me and we can talk about that. But I don't want to jump into that rabbit hole just because, like I said, that I feel that this is more of an introductory level of understanding. How about this? Next Sunday, I will go into the chakras. How about that? Next Sunday, I will go into the basic elements of meditation, from the third eye to the chakras. We're going to go into all of that, the radio waves, all of it. Like, we'll break it down, but definitely one foot at a time. I feel the chakras question is a great question, but that we've jumped hella hella feet when we talk about chakras. But great question nonetheless. So meditation is definitely so, and I love how Open Third Eye brought up chakras because it's something that for real that a lot of us we don't know about, and we really need to know about this stuff. But see, and that's the thing, a lot of the information that I give, especially to to things that people are not privy to, I like to give it to them in doses, because a lot of times we tend to scare people off when we talk about this stuff, right? When you start talking about ancient spirituality, when you start talking about chakras and chis, the connections from the Chinese to the Egyptians, when we start talking about the Kemets, the Timbuktus, the Khufus, when we start talking about ancient Ethiopias, you know what I'm saying, the upside down world in regards, like all of that, that scares people because they're not in it and they don't understand it yet. So that's why for me, I feel that I try my best to come in a sequence form. I start in the beginning on why, what, and then we're gonna build, right? So next week for sure, open third eye. Hold me to this. Next week we will break down the basic elements and foundations of meditation, right, from the third eye all the way to the chakras. Okay, so like I said, if you meditate for any sort of enhancement, whether it's self, whether you want to be more clear in mind, or whether you want to be less aggressive, or whatever level of functionality you want to improve in your day-to-day life, I can't stress to you enough that you are committing and you are doing a disservice to yourself, and you are not meditating no longer, because I can't say it enough that meditation is not about what you want to be. It's not what you're trying to be. It's not any of that. It's about who you are right now. It's about what you are right now. That's all meditation is. Open Third Eye says, no doubt. I like the way you explain it for beginners. Right on. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And to be honest with you too, it's like what I don't know, I'll say. So if someone like you could add on to things that I don't know, I'd love to make you a guest in the shows in the future. I would definitely love to make you a guest if there's anything that you can add and contribute to the knowledge, man, because I don't have it all. You know what I mean? And I'm not afraid to say that. I think it'll be a fool. I'll be a fool to say that I had it all, because it's just impossible to do that, right? You never stop learning in this game, and especially when it comes to the game of life, it's like an instrument. You never stop learning. Just like a jazz player, a blues player, the BB Kings were just getting good when they turned 60, 70, when they're in the game 30, 40 years. You see what I'm saying? Excellence to us is when you've been in something for years on end and you still ain't even like a master teacher. You're still not at the top of your game because you are always learning. I'll never be a teacher. I'll never be a master at anything. All I will always be is a student. That's all I can be. That's all I enjoy to be, because I'm constantly soaking at that level. And then number two, if I ever call myself and consider myself a teacher, I'm separating myself from the people who are still learning. And for me to separate myself from people who are learning is a disservice to me, because now I'm no longer learning while they are. So I welcome any information that is definitely conducive to our growth as a people, most importantly. So again, any type of self, enhancement or improvement that you want to make, meditation is not for you. Meditation is not for motives that are past the now. Okay, meditation is to understand and accept what it is, and to deal with that for what it is. So anything before or after that, it's for the birds. It's for the birds. Us having, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't think ahead. It's in this reality that we live in, you better think ahead, right? Bills, motherfucker, yeah, like you better think ahead. Like I get it. But remember, that's the thing about meditation too. Remember, is that we're separating ourselves from realities we subscribe to. So that's why, people who take meditation seriously, when I say they detach themselves from subscriptions of all realities, that's why there's monks that go to monasteries in the middle of nowhere. They completely separate themselves from all subscription of reality and perceptions that people and society has to offer. So any idea of time, it disappears when a monk dedicates his life to that true understanding. So they're saying, I'm done with living the everyday life of economics. I'm done with living the everyday life of politics, you know what I'm saying, of automobiles and cars and fast food. So they will move to Tibet or some rural place in the middle of nowhere, because that is the most purest example I can give you in regards to the ways of looking at the world. There's so many out there to pick from, and they're not all the same, and they're not actually the way the world is. They're just ideas and ways that you can look at this world. You see what I'm saying? So, so detach yourself from anything that you want to fix about yourself when you meditate. Detach yourself from anything you want to improve about yourself. Detach yourself from that when you meditate. Attach yourself with what you have thus far, who you are thus far. That's what you attach yourself with meditation. And that's why, too, it's like when I talk about the silence thing, it's funny because that's why, if you notice that people who are very enlightened, they're very quiet. People who are in tune, they're very quiet. Have you noticed that? From the Dalai Lamas to the Buddhist monks, all of them, there's a level of silence that they possess, a level of calmness that they possess once they've reached a certain, a certain level of understanding. Right? There's you see this certain kind of coolness about them where they're not loud, they're not, you know what I mean? They're not too high. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what that is. That's what that is because you are so engaged with listening to the world. And when I say listen to the world, I'm talking about in every way. I'm talking about in every way. You're so engaged with that you're constantly receiving information. And so you're going, I'd rather listen to that than run my mouth. What the fuck I gotta say? What do I have to say that's better than the world talking to me? And when I say the world talking to you, I mean it in every level. Like when you walk down the street, right? And you can even, have you ever walked down the street and you were like, damn, this street feels rough. Like I need to hurry up and get to my car. Have you ever felt that before? Where you like, I need to get out of this. Like this street feels a little rough. You ever felt that before? You ever walk down the street, you like, damn, this feels like Mr. Rogers. This feels like I feel like I'm in one of those cookie cutter movies, right? The Stepford Wives or something. Those feelings, that is the world talking to you. So when you feel like you're in a bad part of town, that's the world talking to you. That feeling that you get, that's the world connecting with you going. There's nobody out there telling you, hey, this is a bad part of town. You just feel it. You feel it. That's what I'm talking about, is that when you have that type of connection to the world, it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. That's why you see those monks dead quiet. They don't need to say much. There's not much to say. So as the saying goes, tomorrow never comes because it never existed. Is understanding the now. Time is always now. Okay. When we stop talking and thinking, that's what you realize and you grow to accept. Right? Meditation is not supposed to be fun. Okay. Meditation is not supposed to be this super cool kung fu, you floating in the air. Sometimes meditation hurts. Sometimes meditation is torturous, right? Sometimes it's hard. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard because a lot of times you're dealing with thoughts. You're dealing with circumstances that have affected you, and there's a level of unbalance, right? Just if you're a human, that's going to happen to you unless you stay in a bubble and you don't fuck with nobody. So when you get into meditation, understand that it's not, pink. It's not a bunch of pink roses and unicorns and cotton candy. It's not sweet. Sometimes it's not sweet. Sometimes you got to deal with subconscious thoughts and memories and things that you've maybe shelved and you've put aside. Maybe there are things that subconsciously you have suppressed because of you trying to maintain your sanity, right? Sometimes there are thoughts of like I said, like things where they were traumatic to you. They were traumatic, where it could range from every level of that of trauma. But understand that it's not pretty sometimes, and sometimes you have to go through that hard shit. You know what I mean? Open Third Eye asks, can I get high first, then meditate? I honestly think I mean that's a good question, but I honestly think that you shouldn't, because when you do that, you are tapping into other levels of your psyche. And so if you do that, it's something that you know it invokes a certain reality or perception or different side of you. You know what side of you that it invokes. You know what side of you that it is modifying. But that is, like I said, that is another question that only somebody who has been in this, who is seasoned in regards to who they are, is they know how to take something, you know, to where, because whether you smoke or do anything that you ingest will modify your meditation. From coffee, you name it, anything you eat, anything you ingest modifies the way you think. So if it's something that causes a certain level of euphoria, euphoria. I'm sorry. If it's something that causes a certain level of euphoria, then that modifies your meditation, your thinking levels. And so, like I said, is that if you know yourself and you know what you took and how it modifies you, if it gets you to what, you know, to a level of of meditation and of calmness that you know how to reach, more power to you in regards to how you do it. But I cannot sit here and just generally say that would be a good idea for most people, because some people they don't even understand themselves just smoking without meditating. Some people don't even know how to act just smoking even without meditating. So to start playing with your mind after you done smoked and you don't know yourself that well, you're jumping into uncharted territory. So I would not recommend it. I would not recommend it. I wouldn't even. That's what I'm saying. Like the only way I won't even recommend that. The only way I could sign off on something like that is, like I said, is that if you know your anatomy, you spiritually, you know what is probable spiritually. If you know what is probable within you, then yes, I could understand. But if you don't know what you are capable of, you don't know what your body can do, and what your and ultimately what it could take, where it could take you. Yeah, you just might have problems. I'm charging my phone up. You just might have problems. So yeah, like, and honestly, and if you do smoke, like, try meditating without smoking. Just try that. Like, you can smoke after you meditate. Try meditating without smoking. I'm not assuming you do. I'm just saying, if you do smoke, try without smoking. Just remember the now, just you. Just try and then, like I said, the more you understand what your journey is and what your journey entails, that is up to you how you get there. That's not my decision, nor is it up to me to tell you, right, or to co-sign on it. So the best advice I could give you is what I want someone to give me, is that you have to be more educated in regards to who you are and what these exterior influences do to you internally. You have to know those things. The same way it's like if you drink, you got to know what that liquor does to you before you touch it. Or if you do touch it, you better have a good idea what it does to you, right? So, like I was saying, meditation is not it's not supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be easy, and it's not going to be a life altering and life changing event within the first couple of times you meditate. It's going to be hard to learn yourself. It's going to be hard to reintroduce yourself to self. You understand? It's going to be hard to break those walls that we have all built up in regards to, like I said, talking too much, thinking too much, subscribing to all the shit that we look at as reality. It's going to be hard to separate ourselves from those things. It's hard for people to turn off the TV, turn off the internet, turn off the radio, and just shut everything off and just be quiet. Some people, it's hard for them to do that. Some people, it's hard for them to separate themselves from the reality of not having their cell phone. Some people, it's next to impossible just to stay away from their cell phone. So that's why we have to understand that these are all subscriptions of reality that if you really want to know who you are, you have to detach yourself from these things. You have to. That's the only way to understand who you are. And most importantly, that's the only way to maintain your health. It's to maintain, it's not even just to kind of like dig and find out who you are. It's to maintain yourself. It's to not get lost in the current. It's to not drown in the bullshit that y'all see on IG, the bullshit you see on the YouTubes. Is to ground yourself, to calibrate. That's why it's so important to detach yourself from these ideas of reality and be one with the true reality, which is now. No tomorrow, no yesterday, now. No how I need to lose weight for the summer. No, I need to drop this album. No, none of that. It's now. What am I doing now? What do I know now? How do I feel now? And it's time to accept that for what that is. That's what meditation is all about. And the more you are engaged with that type of thinking, the more, like I said, is that not only anything that comes your way, you'll be able to accept it easier, but anything that you initiate, you will be able to deliver easier. When you learn how to take a punch, you know how to give a punch. Okay? When you know how to take in bad news, you know how to give it. You know how to handle it. You know how to handle it. So we have to learn how to accept, to receive before we dish anything out. We have to learn how to receive thought before we start talking out of our mouths. You got to look at who and what you are now before you even have a tomorrow, if you have one. You see, it was funny. Like, I heard this one saying this dude said to me the other day. Oh no, he didn't say to me. I think it was on TV. I don't know what it was. And dude said, after 5 o'clock, we all the same, motherfucker. He said, you can go up to any rich person you want to and say, after 5 o'clock, we are all the same. When that bank closed, we all the same. Your reality turns into my reality. You could be the richest man in the world talking to me, the brokest man in the world. When it's 5, 6 o'clock, you can't get to your money. The same way I can't get to the money I don't have. We are all the same at certain times of the day. We're all the same. So we have to not let the banks remind us that. We have to know that inside so we don't lose it when the bank closes, that we don't lose it when our bank's at zero or someone else is at $1 million. We have to remind ourselves of these things so we don't fall apart when the powers that be, the realities that be, remind us of what position we are in their totem pole of society. We have to remind ourselves who we are before someone else tried to tell you who you are in their world. Okay? That's what's most important about meditation. That it is arming you in regards to who and what you are and what intentions you have on this earth. Okay? That's the most important thing about it. Now, okay, so I got about 5 minutes left. And this last 5 minutes, I'm going to break down, kind of timed it perfectly. This last 5 minutes, I'm going to break down how we meditate. Okay? How do we do it? Now, I did, kind of scratch the surface in regards to us being quiet, silence. That is very big. But now I'm going to get a little more specific, okay? So some of us, look, you can sit Indian style, you can lay down, you can sit in your lazy boy, you can even open your eyes. It's whatever that is conducive to you and your comfort level, right? So, like, for example, me, I hate laying on my back. like flat on my back. Like I don't like doing it at all. I've never liked it. It makes me very uncomfortable. So laying flat on my back is not comfortable for me. So I never meditate laying on my back. Sitting Indian style, sometimes I do that. For the most part, I'm too grown to be sitting Indian style. I don't sit like that no more. When I do, I feel like a little kid, but that feels weird. I don't sit like that no more. Sometimes I'll just be sitting in the chair I'm in right now, boom, or I'm laying down like sideways, the way I sleep. That's sometimes, a lot of times, that's how I meditate. It's just what's comfortable to me, right? So silence, like I said, silence is number one. And what silence breeds is you are channeling and engaging in the now. You're turning off your Eastern time, Central time, all that. You're turning all that off, right? When you're quiet, silence breeds listening. Silence will always breed listening. The one, the quiet person that you know is a great listener. The motherfucker who never says much ever is a great listener, because it will only encourage listening if you shut your mouth. It will force you to listen. And when you listen, whether there's music playing, whether the birds are chirping, whether a train is coming by, you got smokers in your backyard or in the back alley, I don't care what's going on. You shouldn't care either. Especially if you're not controlling those sounds and you can't control them. Somebody's cleaning their car, got the music going, fuck it. That music is about to jump into your meditation and you're about to handle it accordingly. You see, because meditating is, like I said, is understanding the now. Is the now. You can't control that train going by. So that's okay. That sound is just going to sit in your head, and it's going to be part of all the sounds that you are listening to. What's happening? What's happening? I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say a name, but what's happening in it journal? Welcome. Thank you so much. You came in. I hope you listened to the rest of the build, but right now I'm talking about how we meditate. So number one, like I said, is we stop talking, silence, because silence breeds listening. Unity with an I. Okay, there it is. Unity with an I. I bet I can dig it. So we stop talking. That's number one. That's how we breed listening. When we listen, whether you're closing your eyes or you're not, some people can focus with their eyes closed. Some people can focus with their eyes open. But when we listen, what we're doing is accepting the sounds that surround us and the sounds that are making our now. Because remember, meditation is about the now. So we are listening to the hum and the buzz of the world, which is occurring at that moment around you. If you can't control it, even if you can, there's no need to, right? It's in the now. It's in the now. Take it for what it is. So silence, number one. Sometimes even before you even get to that level of meditation, when you stop talking, like when you close your eyes and you sit down, like for me, I would go weeks where certain times of the day, I just won't talk. And then after a while, I felt like I was ready to sit down and collect my thoughts and take it to the next level. But silence, because silence is going to breed listening, right? Damn, they gave me a 2-minute warning. And then from there, if you're listening to whatever music or anything around you, don't worry about identifying what sounds you're hearing. Just listen to them. Just listen to them and think nothing. When I say that, I'm saying you're telling yourself, okay, hey, it's time to relax and it's time to unpack my thoughts, right? And it's time to just listen. Whatever you listen to, let it take you wherever you want to take it. Don't fight it. If you start thinking, you start hearing a dog barking, and then you start thinking about your dog, and then you start thinking about a swimming pool. Okay, whatever. Don't fight it, because the more you fight it, the harder it is to get back to that place of comfortability. That's like it's like trying to fight a ripple in water. There's no way. You just gotta let it ripple out and let it dissolve itself. So don't fight the thoughts that rush into your head. Don't fight them. Allow them to come in, even though you don't want them there. And sooner or later, you will be able to understand the fact that, okay, these thoughts are the ones that I want. These thoughts are the ones that I don't want. But if you fight them, they'll do exactly what they're there to do, is to cause more friction. They're gonna stay. Okay. So understand, I got 30 seconds. Don't judge yourself when you do this. Because remember when I was saying that if you are in meditation, if you in it because you're thinking you want to be a better person, you want to be this and this and that, you're not meditating no more. Meditating is about now. It's not about the future. It's not about yesterday. It's not about tomorrow. It's about now, because tomorrow doesn't exist. Only now exists. So live in the now. You got to think in the now. You got to feel in the now. Everything else doesn't matter. So any thought, welcome it, but then understand, keep the ones that are conducive to you. I'm out. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all on the next build. Peace. Okay. Yeah, we chopped on that one, bro. I don't know why I forget big.